Alright, YouTube, part 3 of my Star Wars saga review, episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Easily the most anticipated and longed for Star Wars movie out of the six. People waited over 20, 25 years after watching the original episode 4, 5, and 6, waited for this movie for a good 20, 25 years. And when George Lucas started making the new trilogy, episodes 1, 2, and eventually 3, 1 and 2 were great, but we were really just waiting for this movie to finally hit theaters, hit DVDs, so that we can see how Anakin, the guy that started off as a sweet little boy in Tatooine, could possibly end up as the monster and the evil Darth Vader. Wow, let me just say, this movie was unbelievable, man. I don't pay attention to the bullcrap that people out there be saying, negative stuff about the movie. Yo, this movie was one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen a lot. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, man. It opens up with an epic space battle scene going up high above the skies of Coruscant, the planet that's one big city. And it is the war, that particular battle, and this ongoing war that has been going on since the beginning of episode 1, is over the kidnapped Chancellor. The Chancellor Palpatine has been kidnapped by the droid General Grievous and his droid army, and after kidnapping him, they're attempting to flee the capital, and they're attempting to flee the planet, and that's where the battle takes place. So the movie opens up with Anakin and Obi-Wan aboard their Jedi starfighters, along with the rest of the fleet, just dogfighting in space, man. Amazing effects, bro. Amazing shots, and they're trying to Obi-Wan and Anakin are trying to get to General Grievous' ship to rescue the Chancellor. When they get there, it's R2-D2, Anakin, and Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan and Anakin tell R2-D2 to stay put by the control console in case they need any help. They'll communicate to him and tell him what they need, and they go after the Chancellor. When they finally get to the Chancellor, man, he's being held hostage, sitting on a chair, strapped in. And when they get to him, Count Dooku appears. And Anakin and Obi-Wan fight once again, 2-on-1 against Dooku. Dooku is an amazing swordsman, and the fight is real good and all that, and it's not long before Obi-Wan gets incapacitated, he gets knocked out, and it's just 1-on-1 Anakin versus Count Dooku, and Anakin tells him his powers have doubled since the last time they fought, and Dooku tells him that's good, double the pride, what do you say, double the pride, twice the fall. So they're going at it, and the fight ends up right in front of the Chancellor as he's watching. And we know that Chancellor Palpatine is really Darth Sidious, who he's not kidnapped. He's orchestrated this whole thing, but no one knows that but him and his apprentice. And so the fight's going on right in front of him. And in the midst of that fight, Anakin cuts off both of Dooku's hands, and he ends up with both lightsabers, kind of like scissoring them like that, with Dooku's head in between. And when he does that, you get a little glimpse of Sidious coming out of Palpatine as he tries to run Anakin, and as he tries to order him around and tries to get some of that hatred and anger out of Anakin. He just tells him, kill him, Anakin, kill him. And Anakin's like, I shouldn't. Boom, decapitates him. He kills Dooku. They're leaving, and again, Sidious tries to get a little bit of that dark side out of Anakin by telling him, don't worry about it, we won't leave him. We need to leave him there. We're never going to make it with him. And Anakin's like, nah, I'm not leaving him. So Anakin picks up Obi-Wan, and they're running out, and as they're running out, the ship is constantly under attack. And as they're running out, they get captured by the droids, taken to General Grievous to the control room. And in that control room, an epic fight breaks out where Anakin and Obi-Wan fight against some of these battle droids, lightsabers against, they got these staffs with like electricity on them, and so they have fights, whatever, bum bum bum. And Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan end up cornering Grievous 2-on-1, but Grievous flees out of the window. He breaks one of the windows, and he goes out, and he uses a grappling hook, and he attaches himself back to the ship and goes into the other side of the ship. While that's going on, Anakin and Obi-Wan are like, all right, look, we got to pilot this thing, and the ship is going down from all the fire it's taken. So as the ship is going down, Grievous launches all the escape pods, including the one that he's in, so they have no chance of getting off the ship. and Anakin is forced to basically crash land this giant Star Destroyer looking ship into the planet Coruscant. They survive. They save the Chancellor. Everybody's all happy. The Chancellor's been rescued. The Jedi's are the heroes. Blah 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 blah. As the story goes on, as soon as they get back to the Jedi Temple, Anakin meets up with Padme, who is now, Amidala, who is now his wife, and she brings on the news to him that she's pregnant. And he's happy, but he's shocked, and he doesn't know what this is going to mean for his Jedi position, because that's a clear violation of the Jedi Order. And from there on, the story progresses. Anakin and Amidala have their own little apartment or house or whatever you want to call it, and he starts to have nightmares in the middle of the night of her dying in childbirth. And this starts to raise up the fears that he has about losing those close to him, such as he did with his mother in episode 2, which I forgot to mention in my episode 2 review. I am sorry. In my episode 2 review, I forgot to mention that Anakin goes off to rescue his mother, who's been kidnapped, and when he finds her, she dies in his arms. And that brought out a lot of anger and rage in him, and he killed the Sand People, the Tusken Raiders that kidnapped her. He slaughtered them all, and so he was having dreams about her dying too. So now that he's having these dreams about Amidala, he's freaking out, and he goes to seek guidance from Yoda, and Yoda tells him, "Hey, look, you gotta let it go, man. Whatever the Force is doing, the Force is gonna do, no matter what you do or what you don't want to happen. So you need to train yourself to let go of everything you're scared to lose." And Anakin's like, "I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna let this happen." Blah 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 blah. And the Chancellor Palpatine, or Senator Palpatine, or whatever he is, I forgot what he is in this movie. He starts to play on that. He starts to see this fear in him, and he can read his thoughts since he's a Sith. And he starts to, bait him, telling him, the dark side is the only way you're gonna find the power to keep your wife alive. And basically, what happens is then there's a lot of battles. It's a very long movie, it's 3 hours and 11 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. And there's a battle where Obi-Wan Kenobi, confronts General Grievous, destroys Grievous, and then Mace Windu tells Anakin, "All right, take this report to the Chancellor, and his reaction will let us know what he's up to." Because this whole time, the Jedi are getting weary and very concerned that the Chancellor has not only been in power longer than he's supposed to be, but he's expected to get even more power. They're supposed to vote more emergency powers over to him, so the Jedi don't trust him, and they think that they think the dark side of the Force surrounds him. And so he starts using Anakin and telling Anakin, "Look, your Jedi friends don't trust me." And Anakin is kind of like a son. This guy's kind of like a father to Anakin. He's been his friend since Anakin arrived at the capital. So Anakin is torn between the two. And Palpatine tells him, "Look, man, the dark side of the Force is the only way you're going to get the power you need to keep your wife alive. I've been trained to use the dark side of the Force." So Anakin realizes this is the Sith we've been looking for the whole time. So he goes back and he tells Mace Windu. Mace Windu tells Anakin, "Look, don't come with me. Stay out of this. We're going to go get him." So Anakin's forced to wait at the temple while Mace Windu and 3 other Jedis go to arrest the Chancellor, because of corruption and because of the fact that he is the Sith. And when they get there, there's an epic battle. Darth Sidious kills he kills 3 of those Jedi's right on the spot, and it ends up being Mace Windu versus Darth Sidious. Pretty good lightsaber battle. Mace Windu is a badass, and it ends up with Mace Windu getting the better upper hand and having Palpatine on the floor begging for his life. And as that happens, Anakin has been waiting at the Jedi Temple. It was a very heart-wrenching scene where he's just waiting, looking out the window towards his apartment where he knows Amidala is. And vice versa, there's a scene of Amidala looking out towards the Jedi Temple where Anakin is, and the camera just goes back and forth between the two of them, and they're looking, and Amidala's crying and worried about him, and he's crying because he knows in his heart that he's gonna have to turn to the dark side if he wants to save her. He's gonna have to turn on everything he knows, and it's just like you saw in that one scene, you saw the turn happen. You saw the turn. That was the scene where the turn happened. It didn't happen in the next scene that I'm going to talk about. It happened right there, where he was alone in that Jedi temple, and he realized the only way I'm going to save my wife is if I do what Palpatine is saying. And you can see him crying, just angry tears, because he knew it was over. He knew he was different now. So I'm going to leave it there. Come back with a part 2 for this review because the movie's that long. I'm just going over the surface. I'm not telling you all the ins and outs. I'm just telling you the main gist of the movie. But come back for part 2 of my Revenge of the Sith review. Alright, God bless y'all. Peace.